Hello, welcome to the 30k channel. I'm your host, David Brains, and in today's game of Mechanicum Vs Soh March, I've been joined by Luke. Good morning, Luke.
Hello, David.
Good to see you.
Well, thank you.
Now, yeah, good. We've been chatting for a little while about this game. We met at the Shadow of Iron, was it?
Yeah, the Aeronautica and Titanicus event.
Yeah.
Not the same.
No.
But two separate events.
At One
on the same
World.
day.
About 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Luke suggested about his Sons of Horus, and we've finally got them on. Have to say, they are a fantastic looking Sons of Horus army.
Thank you.
Love the colour scheme, the pale colour.
Yeah, it was a labour of love. Been inspired by Duncan Rhodes' Sons of Horus and by the really old Index Astartes articles in White Dwarf. So I preferred a paler sea green.
Yeah. Sons of Horus amazes me. Everyone paints them so differently. There's no sort of uniform sort of way. I guess there isn't really in Heresy, but I love how everyone has their own take on a colour scheme. But I think these look brilliant. They're so cool. But we've got them facing off against the might of the Ordo Reductor of my Mechanicum. I think I've been a bit, not gentle is the wrong word, but I usually take 4 Cryos Venator, which is a bit keen. So I've limited myself to 2, and I've taken more Thalax. But if I look over at your list, there's a lot of AP4 weaponry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Thalax, so
there is a lot of Thalax.
Need something that can deal with them. So
we'll see. We've got a really interesting game. We've got Shatter Strike. So essentially, troops are scoring, are worth 2 points. Sorry, scoring units worth 2 points in enemy deployment zone, and denial units are worth 1. And we've got Hammer and Anvil, which is quite interesting. So everything's kind of squashed in and to fighting over a very narrow battlefield.
Yeah.
But you've got a lot of outflanking, haven't you?
Yeah, Reserves. I've got Outriders and a Javelin to try and come into the deployment zone and hopefully deny some objectives or score some denial points. But there's a lot of stuff to shoot at them in your deployment zone.
Well, there is, but let's not forget you've got a Levy in Deep Strike in a drop pod, and then we've got Abaddon and 7 Justerian, which I'm really not keen on, if I'm honest. So, the good thing with the Thalax is that all of their weapons have the potential of being AP2. So the photon thrusters are AP2, the multi-melters are AP1, and then obviously the lightning guns are strength 7 shred and rending. So it will help, but this army relies on rolling 6s.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at rolling 6s. So we'll see how it goes. If we look at your deployment, though, you've got 3 Predator tank squadron at the side there.
Yeah, you don't necessarily see a lot of Predators because I guess Cicerans and Sicarans, however you say it, are a lot more popular. And you can see why. They're fast for a start, but I don't know. For me, like the Predator's just like the classic marine tank, which is why I like bringing them. I mean, they're supposed to be relatively cheap, but I think you were surprised how many points are in that squad.
I think it was like 400 points odd, wasn't it?
420. It really adds up when you add the las cannons and the machine spirits. So
it's like 40 points for las cannons, isn't it, or something like that, or similar sort of cost?
Something like that.
I vaguely remember that back in my head, but yeah. But you've also brought 2 massive units of tactical marines, 15-man units. Yeah,
again, it's just sort of that sort of iconic heresy image. Should be loads of tactical. So
I must admit, that's where the Reductor Force really struggles to take out infantry. And you could say, oh, why don't you take Cryos with their lightning gun? It's a lightning cannon rather, strength 7 large blast, AP3 shred. But they tend to die really quick. So I've got 2 Kraknos in this list, and their mortar battery, 60-inch range, will hopefully, with the Radphage and the Fleshbane, start to peel those troops out. But I don't know, I've not had a lot of success with them. So we'll have to see.
I'm sure you'll rectify that today.
We'll have a go. Definitely going to have a go. One thing is for sure, this is a really good looking game. You've got that really awesome red of the Mechanicum versus the pale sort of green of the Sons of Horus on a black board or a grey board, which I purposely build the board a bit dull just to make the colours come out a little bit more in the forces.
Really pop.
Yeah, hopefully. And hopefully all of these vehicles will be able to manoeuvre around the city to produce a good game. So we're looking forward to it. Now the Mechanicum will roll off and they deployed first, go first. but you're keen for a siege, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Rather you not have a turn of shooting at me.
I do not want you to seize. So we've forgotten this in the past, but we've handily got it all ready today. So we've been efficient. You've got a dice. Give it a roll.
Oh, come on.
That was a siege. You jammy bugger. All right, so we're going to see the armies and the lists that will go into Sons of Horus turn 1. 3,000 points of Warlord Reductor led by an Arch Magos Reductor. His Warlord trait is Perfected Targeting. HQ, the army is led by an Arch Magos Reductor. He's equipped with a Melter Gun, Melter Bombs, Jinskine, Cyber Familiar, and 3 Cyber Ocularis. Troops choices 1, 2, and 3 are identical. There are 6 Thalax. 2 are equipped with Photon Thrusters. The other 4 are equipped with Lightning Guns. They have been upgraded to take the Destructor special rule, which gives them Tank Hunter, and they are all equipped with Melter Bombs. The 4th troop choice is identical to the other 3, but only includes 1 Photon Thruster. The 5th and final troops choice is another 6 Thalax unit, upgraded to take Destructor and Melter Bombs, and the unit also includes 2 Multi-Melters. Dedicated transports for the army include 2 Trios armoured conveyors. Both have been upgraded to take extra armour. They also include 2 Volkite Sentinels and a twin-linked Mauler bolt cannon. Thanks to the Auto Reductor Force organisational chart, it allows this Reductor Force to take 4 heavy support choices. Heavy support choices 1 and 2 are 2 Cryos Venator. Heavy support choice 3 and 4 are 2 Kragnos Assault Tanks. They're equipped with a Kragnos Mortar Battery and 2 Lightning Blaster Sentinels. They also include a Flare Shield and a Searchlight.
3,000 points of Sons of Horus, led by Abaddon, with the Intimidating Presence Warlord trait, running the Long March Rite of War. HQ for the Sons of Horus is Abaddon, who's armed with a grenade harness, mastercrafted power fist, and power sword. The elite choice for the Sons of Horus is a Just-Erring Terminator squad, armed with 2 chain fists, 2 power fists, a power axe, 2 combi plas, a heavy flamer, and a power maul. First of 2 identical troops choices for the Sons of Horus is a 15-man tactical squad. The squad has a Legion Vexilla, and the sergeant is armed with Melter Bombs, Power Fist, Artificer Armour, and Bolt Pistol. Third choice for the Sons of Horus troops is a Tartaros Terminator squad, armed with 2 chain fists, 2 power fists, a Volkite Charger, a Plasma Blaster, and the Sergeant has a Volkite Charger and a Chain Fist. They're in a dedicated transport, which is a Land Raider Phobos, which has 2 twin-linked las cannon, a twin-linked heavy bolter, and armoured ceramite. First fast attack choice for the Sons of Horus is a Javelin attack speeder armed with a multi-melter and twin Cyclone missile launchers. The second fast attack choice for the Sons of Horus is a Legion Outrider squad. The Sergeant has a Power Fist and there is a Power Axe in the squad, and all the bikes have twin plasma guns. First heavy support choice for the Sons of Horus is a Legion Fire Raptor gunship armed with twin-linked autocannon sponsons and Hellstrike missiles. Second heavy support choice for the Sons of Horus is a Legion Predator tank squadron, all armed with Predator autocannons and las cannon sponsons, and they all have machine spirit. Third heavy support choice for the Sons of Horus is a Leviathan Siege Dreadnought with a Siege Claw, a Gravflux Bombard, a Phosphex Discharger, and twin-linked Volkite Calivers. His dedicated transport is a Legion Dreadnought drop pod. Sons of Horus, turn 1 movement. The Leviathan has drop podded down into the middle of the Mechanicum deployment zone. The tacticals are moving up along the edge of the battlefield in order to try and sneak their way. The Land Raider with the Terminators in it has just nudged forward to make his way slowly up the middle of the field. The tactical squad in the ruins are staying put at the moment because to leave that ruin would be death. And The Predators are staying where they are in order to bring their full firepower to bear. Sons of Horus, turn 1 shooting. The Land Raider is going to put its las cannons into the 2 Triaros conveyors. So the first one is 1 shot, twin linked, that's a miss, twin linked, that's a miss again. The second one is going to use a machine spirit and shoot in front of it. That's a miss. And the second one is a hit. And it's got a flare shield, so it needs 5s to glance. That's a penetrating hit. And that is a 6 on the vehicle damage chart, so that's immobilized. Sons of Horus on the left flank of the battlefield are running towards the enemy objective and manage to roll a 1, so they're slowly stumbling forwards. The Predator squadron are going to put their Predator autocannons into the Thalax at the far end of the battlefield, and they're going to use Power of the Machine Spirit to shoot at the Krios Venator. So we'll do the autocannons first. The rear one's out of range, so it's 8 shots hitting on 3s. And that is 6 hits, and they are strength 7 versus toughness 5, wounding on 2s. Ugh, that is 3 wounds.
Alright, so they do get a 5-up cover save, which is passed on 2, then a 6-up feel no pain. Oh, so 1 wound is taken.
So 5 shots from the Predator las cannons hit 4 times into the Triaros conveyor, but no damage was done due to cover saves. Sons of Horus Leviathan stepped out of his pod and unleashed all his weapons into the Thalax squad next to him. He managed to kill 2, put 1 wound on one and 2 wounds on another. End of Sons of Horus turn 1. The Predators didn't achieve much. The tactical squad are slowly moving their way up the board, but the Leviathan has come down, caused quite a bit of damage, and is going to cause a headache for the Mechanicum if they don't deal with him.
Order Reductor turn 1 movement, and the Krios Venator and the Triaros armor conveyor have shot forward 12 inches to take on these 3 Sons of Horus Predator tanks. The Thalax that are hunkered down between the containers and the Krachnos there have moved into position to bring their firepower to bear on that Leviathan Dreadnought. The Krachnos will stay stationary. He will fire his barrage up in the air at the tactical marines in the building and then shoot his lightning gun Sentinel blaster into the Leviathan. The Thalax that were shot at move through cover past their dangerous tests for the Phosphex and are bringing in position. They will charge if a last-ditch attempt is needed. The Krios Venator has moved around to engage the Leviathan. The Magos has stood close by and will pull some crazy bonuses onto that Krios to try and destroy the Leviathan. And these Thalax here on top of the building have got into a position where they can bring their firepower to bear on the strike squadron over on the far field. Other than that, the Leviathan have hemmed the Mechanicum in, so we've got to try and destroy it. Order Reductor, turn 1 shooting. The Krios Venator fired its 4 shots into the front Predator there. 3 hits, 1 glance, 1 pen. The pen only resulted in a shaken result, but that's still 2 whole points off that lead Predator. The Triaros armor conveyor then flatted out for a further 6 inches. The Thalax in front of the Leviathan have fired their lightning guns. 4 went in, getting 4 hits, and 1 penetrate went through, thanks to a rending hit, which destroyed the caliver on the right-hand side of the Leviathan, and a hull point. Then the photon thrusters fired 4 shots, 2 hits. 1 did get hot and caused a wound on the Thalax, which is a little unfortunate, but ended up getting a glance through on the Leviathan. So 2 hull points down, 2 to go. The Thalax directly in front of the Leviathan fired their lightning guns, but failed to cause any damage. And the photon thruster armed Thalax fired his photon thruster and took a wound and missed also. So very unfortunate for that squad. The Krios Venator fired, upon the rear arc of the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought. But before it did that, the Archmagos Reductor passed its Master of Destruction special rule onto the Venator, which gave it Sunder and +1 to the damage roll. So went from essentially AP2 to AP1. And also the Jinsgun ability, which made it hit on 2s. There was 2 hits. One failed to penetrate, even with the Sunder. But the one that did go through on a penetrate, the invulnerable save was failed, and a 6 was rolled on the chart, destroying the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought. That has taken the pressure off the Mechanicum immensely. When the Leviathan exploded, it increased the strength to strength 5 and exploded in a 4-inch diameter. The 2 Cyborg Goliaths that were caught in the blast passed their their armor saves rather, but this Thalax here on the left-hand side suffered a wound. The Kragnos assault tank on the right-hand side of the screen there fired its battery into the Sons of Horus, taking cover into the building, but the shot scattered a massive 11 inches and the unit was unscathed. Then the other Kragnos assault vehicle, hidden away in the opposing building, used the line of sight from Cybot Galaris there to target the same unit and managed to get 3 blasts directly on target, causing 16 hits and 13 wounds, and that was enough to kill 5 of the Sons of Horus. The Kragnos then each fired a single lightning blaster sentinel at the Dreadnought drop pod to clear it out of the Mechanicum lines, but only 1 hull point was caused. The 2 Thalax in the building here fired 4 photon thruster shots into the Predator Strike Squadron on the far end of the battlefield. One of the Thalax missed both with shots, and he got to get as hot as well and took a wound, but the other one managed to hit twice, got 1 pen and 1 glance, but when rolling for damage, the pen was a 6, and being an APT weapon, it destroyed one of the Predators, so very good result there. Mechanicum turn 1 assault phase, and all that was left to do is the thrust moves from the Thalax. So this unit here jumped down from that ledge 5 inches. The unit at the back here unfortunately managed a massive 2-inch move, so they just thrust backwards to try and keep an eye on that Kragnos assault tank. And this unit here that fired upon the Leviathan rolled a huge 7 inches and moved back into the cover of that little depression there. On the whole, a really good turn for Mechanicum. Dealing with that Leviathan is really key to the battle. But now they need to brace, ready for the Sons of Horus reserves.
Sons of Horus turn to movement. The reserves have arrived on the flank. The Javelin and the Outriders have both appeared on the same side. Unfortunately, the Fire Raptor and Abaddon and his Just Erin have failed to arrive yet. The Land Raider has moved up 12 inches to try and get up towards that deployment zone. Again, the Tactical Squad are making their way down the flank. The squad in the building have just shuffled around a bit to maybe not get hit with as many templates. And the Predator Squad have moved up and repositioned to try and stop the Triaros coming through so easily into my deployment zone. Sons of Horus turn to shooting. The Predator Squadron has fired their las cannons into the Triaros and has done no damage. The Outriders came on the flank and fired their plasma into the Thalax squad that was by the drop pod. They all hit 7 times and did 7 wounds, and they all failed their saves, and the squad was wiped. The Javelin fired through the ruins into the Kragnos. It hit with all its weapons. The missiles bounced off, but the multi-melter got a penetrating hit, but unfortunately for the Sons of Horus, it passed its cover save. Sons of Horus Land Raider Phobos fired its las cannons into the Triaros, one of them with Power of the Machine Spirit. They both hit, but both failed to penetrate. End of Sons of Horus turn 2. The shooting phase wasn't great, mainly failing to penetrate the Mechanicum's armour, but the Outrider squad excelled themselves by wiping out the unit of Thalax. So overall, not a bad turn, not great.
Order Reductor turn 2 movement phase. The Trios armoured conveyor made a row attack against the lead Predator from the strike squadron there, caused a strength 9 ram, and took the final hull point, destroying the vehicle, not needing the haywire attack from it. The Kryos Venator turned to face the oncoming Phobos to bring its fusil to bear. The Thalax in the little bunker here also bolstered the firepower against the Land Raider. The Thalax in the building moved out, again, to bolster firepower on the Land Raider. The other conveyor is unfortunately immobilised, which is a real shame. So it is stuck there. The plan was to push that forward up through the middle as much as possible. The Venator here has turned to face the oncoming bikes and jet bikes. We're hoping to wipe at least the speeder out if we can. And finally, the 2 Kreknos assault tanks have stayed stationary and will fire either upon the attack bikes or the tactical marines. Order Reductor turn 2 shooting, and the Kryos Venator has opened up 4 shots against the side armour of that Land Raider Phobos. Unfortunately, only 1 hit, and then that failed to penetrate, which is a real shame. The Thalax on the little hill here, all of the lightning guns failed to penetrate, but 1 photon thruster managed to sneak a glancing hit on that Land Raider, so it is down to 3 hull points. The Thalax in the building here fired 4 lightning guns and 4 photon thruster shots into the front of the Land Raider. Despite getting a +1 ballistic skill from Jinskine from the Arc Magos Reductor, the Land Raider has suffered no damage. The Kryos Venator fired upon the Outriders on the rear battlefield here. The Outriders did jink, which good. But the Kryos Venator fired 4 shots, only hitting with 1, but then needing a 2 to wound and rolled another 1, so that it completely failed. The centre weapons on the Kreknos assault tank there swiveled around 180 degrees and targeted the Outrider squad. Despite firing 6 shots, only 1 hit, but that hit was a rend, and the cover savers failed, killing one of the Outriders. The Kreknos assault battery then fired high up into the sky against the tactical marines taking cover in the building, but the shot completely scattered and failed to hit, so that was very unfortunate. The same thing happened for this Kreknos. It also missed with its barrage weapon, but the lightning blaster sentinel on the side there managed to take out one of the bikes, getting 1 hit, 1 wound, and the armor save being failed. So not a bad result. Their leadership test was passed. Order Reductor turn 2 assault phase. Terrible result here. The Thalax were going to charge the Land Raider there. Needed a 7-inch charge and unfortunately rolled a 5. It would have been nice just to take out that Land Raider there and restrict the Sons of Horus with some options, but it didn't happen. In other news, the Thalax here moved 9 inches in their thrust move just to screen any charges against that Venator. They probably won't happen, but it's worth just protecting it. Finally, in the backfield here, we're very worried about the Outriders and that Javelin, but we'll just have to brace to see what the Sons of Horus have got.
Sons of Horus, turn 3 movement phase. Abaddon has done a really nice, accurate deep strike right next to the Thalax and the Venator squad. The Land Raider has moved up 6 inches and the Terminators have disembarked, ready to charge the Thalax. The Outriders have moved up to try and plant some melter bombs onto the Venator. The Javelin has stayed where it is to try and keep shooting into the rear of the Kreknos. The Tactical Squad have moved up again to try and keep going for that deployment zone, and the Tactical Squad are making their way out of the ruins to try and not stand there and get shot again by the Kreknos. And finally, the last remaining Predator has moved up to the cover of the rocks to try and get a few shots into that Triaros. Sons of Horus, turn 3 shooting phase. Abaddon and his Justarin Terminators fired into the Thalax in front of them with a combination of heavy flamers, combi bolters and combi plas. They killed 2 of the Thalax, who then promptly failed their morale check and retreated 4 inches. The Sons of Horus Outrider squad put their plasma guns into the Venator but did no damage. The Javelin put 2 missiles and a multi-melter into the back of the Karatnos. The missiles failed to penetrate and the multi-melter managed to, as ever, roll a 1 to hit. The Land Raider Phobos put one of its las cannons into the Triaros and failed to do any damage, and it used Power of the Machine Spirit to fire at the Karatnos in the ruins and again failed to do any damage. Sons of Horus tactical squad that were in the building have left the ruins and ran up to support the Predator tank. The Tartaros Terminator squad fired all of their weapons into the Thalax and managed to cause 2 wounds. The Sons of Horus tactical squad on the far flank have ran up another 3 inches towards that deployment zone. Sons of Horus turn 3 assault phase. The Tartaros Terminators declared a charge into the Thalax squad. Their overwatch fire was ineffective and they made the charge easily. The Outrider squad have also managed to get a charge into the Venator. The combat between the Outrider squad and the Venator, the Sergeant managed to hit with his Power Fist and do 1 hull point of damage and shake the tank. The other 2 Outriders, despite hitting with their attacks, failed to do any further damage.
Combat between the Tartaros Terminators and the Thalax. The Thalax struck at initiative 2 to begin with, 12 attacks, hitting with 8, wounding with 7, but only managed to drag 1 of the Tartaros Terminators down. They will now strike at initiative 1.
Okay. Sons of Horus Terminators managed to hit with all 13 attacks, which did 6 wounds and removed 3 Thalax from the fight. Despite losing the combat, the Thalax managed to remain in the fight due to being stubborn. End of Sons of Horus turn 3, Abaddon finally arriving and the Tartaros getting a charge off has really made a big difference, and hopefully we can continue to push the advantage.
Auto Reductor, turn 3 movement, and this is absolutely crucial this turn to cause as many casualties as we can. The Trios Armoured Conveyor has stayed stationary and disembarked his troops, and the Thalax have got out, and the plan here is to take out Abaddon and that unit of Justarin. So virtually the entire army has turned to face that emerging threat that has deep struck in the previous turn. If we don't deal with these Terminators this turn, the game will fold for the Mechanicum. The Thalax here on the centre that ran past the leadership test, and they will snapshoot into the Justarin. The other unit here have gotten out of their Trios Armoured Conveyor over the petals of the drop pod and have trained all of their weapons onto those Justarin Terminators. The Kraknos is slightly repositioned to get some Volkite shots. The Lightning Sentinel Blasters onto the bikes. The Kryos Venator has repositioned, and the Magos has moved to get his melter gun in range of those bikes. That's it really for the turn. We just need to cause as much damage as we can. Auto Reductor, turn 3 shooting. The Mauler bolt cannon on top of the Trios Armoured Conveyor fired into the Tactical Marines. 3 hits and 3 killed. They will need to take a leadership test, but there may be some more shooting, so we'll come back to that if we need to. Next to fire was the Kryos Venator. 4 shots into the Justarin. Only hit twice, wounded once, but the invulnerable save of the Justarin's Terminators was passed. Then the lightning guns and the photon thrusters opened up into the Justarin Terminators. Managed to kill 1, stripping 2 wounds, and put 1 wound on one of the Terminators. It's a very good start. The Thalax in front of the Justerian snapshot their lightning guns into the squad, but failed to cause any damage. But the 2 multi-melters from the squad behind that just disembarked from that Triaris armor conveyor got 2 hits of the multi-melters and 2 kills, destroying the 2 Terminators from the front rank. A lightning gun then fired in and managed to strip a wound off a chain-fisted Terminator. The Mauler bolt cannon on top of the Triaris armor conveyor then fired into the Justerian Terminators. Only got 2 hits and 2 wounds, but their 2-up armor was too good for the Mauler bolt cannon. The Christ Venator snapshot into the Outriders there, got 1 hit and 1 wound, but they made their 5-up jinx save, so good on them. The Kraknos fired its mortar battery over at the 15-man tactical squad advancing on the side of the board there, but the shot scattered and missed. The 2 sentinel weapons, one fired into the Terminators missing, and the second one fired into the bikes, getting 1 hit, but the armor save was passed. The second Kraknos fired high up into the sky, raining shells down upon the 15-man tactical unit, or greatly reduced 15-man tactical unit on the other side of the board. Got 6 hits, which was brilliant, but they made all of their armor saves. The sentinel weapons also on the Kraknos there do not have a line of sight to any target. Very bad positioning on the Mechanicum's part. Order Reductor turn 3 assault phase. There is a combat. We're going to do the thrust moves first. This unit thrust 12 inches into the cover and safety of that rocky outcrop by the crates there. This unit here by the Triaris got a massive 4 inches. And then finally, this Cyborg Galaris boosted up 12 inches onto the corner of that building just to provide that -1 cover save for any shooting against the Sons of Horus in this corner of the board. We are now going to go into combat between the Tartaros Terminators and the Thalax. Combat between the Thalax and the Tartaros Terminators. The Thalax attacked at initiative 2 with 6 attacks, only hitting twice, causing 1 wound, but the Tartaros Pattern Terminator armor saved. We'll now go to initiative 1.
The Tartaros struck with their power fists at initiative 1 with 9 attacks. They did 9 hits and 7 wounds, and unfortunately, they saved 5 of them on 6s, so only 2 wounds done, which took out 1 of the Thalax.
After rolling an obscene amount of 6s for their Feel No Pain, the Thalax pass their morale check and are stuck in combat, which is really good news for the Mechanicum. On the whole, average turn really. The Mechanicum needed to get rid of those Justerian Terminators, but it just didn't quite happen. The Kraus Venator really letting the side down there with only 1 hit and then it being passed on its save. We will now need to face the wrath of the Fire Raptor in the next turn for the Sons of Horus.
Sons of Horus turn 4 movement. The Fire Raptor finally showed up and came as far as it could onto the table, trying to draw line of sight to some Thalax. The tactical squad moved up 3 inches through the cover towards the other Thalax squad. The Predator turned round and came back around the rocks in order to get some shots off at the Thalax by the trenches. The Justerian moved towards the Thalax squad in order to put some fire into them and get an assault off, hopefully. Sons of Horus turn 4 movement. The Fire Raptors finally made an appearance, and all the other units are moving up towards a Mechanicum deployment zone and have shifted around in order to bring their firepower to bear on any available targets. The Outriders have moved around the corner towards the HQ to try and claim Warlord kill, and the Javelin has gone into the side of the Kraknos. The tactical squad are again moving up to try and get that deployment zone score. Sons of Horus turn 4 shooting. The Predator fired everything into the Thalax squad by the bunker and put 2 wounds onto the multi-melter Thalax. The Land Raider Phobos fired its las cannons into the Krios Venator. It got 2 hits but failed to penetrate with both. It then used Machine Spirit to fire the Heavy Bolter into the closest Thalax but failed to hit due to it being snap shooting. The Outrider squad snapshot their plasma guns into the HQ but only got 2 hits and he passed both of his saves. Oh. The Javelin fired at the Karachnos. The missile launchers hit but failed to penetrate. The Multi-Melter also hit but rolled double 1 and failed to penetrate. The Fire Raptor put the Avenger bolt cannon into the Thalax in front of the Justarin and managed to do 6 hits and 5 wounds, removing one of the Thalax and putting 2 wounds onto another. The autocannons on the Sponson fired into the Thalax on the bunker and managed to take out the Multi-Melter. End of Sons of Horus shooting phase, turn 4. The wounded tactical squad advanced up to the cover of the rocks, and the untouched one on the flank ran up 4 inches into that deployment zone. Sons of Horus turn 4 assault phase. Abaddon and his Justarin went into the Thalax. The Overwatch fire resulted in the Photon Thruster Thalax killing himself. The Bikes declared a charge against the HQ, whose Overwatch fire failed to hit. In the combat between the Justarin and the Thalax, the Justarin with the Power Sword attacked 3 times and did 1 wound on a Thalax. The Thalax struck back at Initiative 2 and managed to miss with all 4 attacks. The Justarin with Power Fists put 9 attacks into the Thalax and managed to wipe them before Abaddon had a chance to strike. After winning the combat, the Justarin consolidated 2 inches. In the assault between the Outriders and the Reductor Archmagos, the Magos attacked first, hit 3 times but failed to do any damage. Then the Sons of Horus attacked back. The Axe managed to take 1 wound and the Sergeant with the Power Fist managed to finish him off. After winning the combat, the Outrider squad consolidated 5 inches towards the Venator. In the combat between the Tartaros Terminators and the Thalax attacked first for no damage. The Tartaros Terminators hit with 4 attacks, took 1 Thalax out, but he remained due to being stubborn. End of Sons of Horus turn 4 went very well. The HQ is dead and the Justarin are ready to face down the Venator.
Order Reductor turn 4 movement, and the Mechanicum need to make some serious choices now to try and score some points at the end of the game rather. So this Thalax unit has moved up over the top of that rock, and they will fire down onto those tactical marines, because if not, then they will charge the armoured conveyor, denying the Mechanicum some scoring points. So we'll see what happens there. This Venator has moved back full 12 inches to bring its weapons to bear on Abaddon. He's the second closest model, so we might be able to pip him out if we get some lucky rolls. The Thalax have moved into a position where they can either pour fire into the Justarin or plant some melter bombs on that Land Raider. This Venator, who is snap shooting, moved in the same position to the Justarin, as has the 2 Krachnos. They're putting their mortar batteries into range. And finally, the immobilised Triaris will put its mortar bolt cannon into the Justarin. Order Reductor, turn 4 shooting, and the Krachnos assault tank fired its mortar battery onto Abaddon and the Justarin and completely missed. However, the Sentinel weapon managed to get 1 hit and took out the already wounded Justarin. The other Volkite then targeted the Bikes. They didn't jink, and the shot didn't wound. The other Kreknos mortar battery opened up in the Justerin, managed to get 2 hits, which was good, which was a total of 5 wounds, but they all made their arm saves, which was a shame. And the the Sentinel weapon opened up onto the Javelin next to it and managed to cause a glancing hit, so that was a bit of a result. The Trios armor conveyor fired its Volkite Sentinel into the rear of the Justerin, hit, but armor save was made, and then the Mauler bolt cannon on top swiveled round 180 degrees, shot into the Javelin, which did jink, but failed to penetrate. The Kraus Venator then fired into the Justerin, getting 3 hits this time, which is really good. It only killed 1 Justerin as the other saves were made. There was a potential there to get Abaddon, but it failed. After giving it a lot of thought, the Thalax decided to fire to their rear into the Land Raider, thinking that it was going to be an easy point to score, but they failed to penetrate the armour of that Land Raider. They will charge it though with their melter bombs, but just thinking about whether it should have been worth going for the Justerin, but we'll find out later on. Next up, the Trios armour conveyor fired the twin-link Mauler bolt cannon into the tactical marines, but failed to wound. The Thalax on top of the rock there fired down. The 4 lightning guns managed to kill 2 marines, and the photon thruster took a wound to get hot, but also killed one of the marines at the back. The Sons of Horus tactical unit failed their blind check, so our weapon skill, ballistic skill 1, but they passed their leadership test. Auto Reductor turned for assault phase, and the Thalax assaulted the Phobos there, made a 6-inch charge, and then the Thalax on the side here managed to charge the tactical marines. Their incoming Overwatch fire was ineffective, and they made a 9-inch charge into that tactical marine unit. Combat between the Thalax and the Sons of Horus tactical squad. 3 marines attacked at initiative 4, but failed to wound the Thalax. The Thalax attacked back at initiative 2. There was 18 attacks, of which 12 hit, 6 wounded, but only managed to kill 1 Sons of Horus marine. At initiative 1, the sergeant attacked back with his power fist with 2 attacks, managed to hit once and cause a wound, and that brings the combat to a draw. The combat will continue. The 5 Thalax in contact with that Land Raider managed to destroy it, with 2 of the melter bombs being clamped in place, causing 2 penetrating hit, and a 5 was rolled, which meant the Land Raider exploded. No damage came to harm to the Thalax or the Terminators next to it. Final combat of turn 4, and the Thalax in combat with the Tartaros Terminators hit twice, but failed to wound. The Terminators then struck back with 9 attacks, hitting with 5 and causing 4 wounds on the Thalax. Managed to save 1 due to feel no pain, but the Thalax was destroyed. After winning the combat, the Terminators then consolidated 1 inch. At the end of turn 4 for the Auto Reductor, they had hoped to score more damage against Abaddon and his unit, but it just wasn't meant to be. Some nice tight combat on the far end of the battlefield there. We're going to try and push up to score some points in the later game, but the Sons of Horus have really penned the Mechanicum in.
Sons of Horus, turn 5 movement. The tactical squad have moved up fully into the deployment zone. The bikes have repositioned themselves into the rear arc of the Triaros. The Javelins come across to try and take on the Kreknos. The Justerin have advanced up to the Venator. The Predators moved up around the rocks to try and shoot into the Thalax as the Fire Raptor goes into hover mode again to try and take on that squad. Sons of Horus, turn 5 shooting. The Tartaros Terminator with Plasma Blaster put 2 shots into the Kreknos and got a penetrating hit, immobilizing it. The Legion Outrider squad fired their plasma guns into the rear of the Triaros. They hit with all 6 shots and got 3 glancing hits and 1 penetrating hit, leaving it as a wreck. The Javelin was snap shooting into the Kreknos, but unfortunately managed to miss with all its shots. The Legion Predator fired its autocannon and las cannon into the Thalax squad stood by the bunker, and managed to take out one of them. Then it snapshot its other las cannon into the Krios Venator, managing to hit and penetrate, but unfortunately for the Sons of Horus, it was saved due to them shooting through their own unit. Sons of Horus Fire Raptor fired its 2 Hellstrike missiles into the Krios Venator, managing to hit twice and do 1 hull point of damage. It then fired its right-hand autocannon into the Triaros conveyor near the Sons of Horus deployment zone for another hull point of damage. The final shooting from the Fire Raptor managed to put the Avenger bolt cannon and an autocannon into the Thalax squad for a total of 6 wounds, which took out 2 of the Thalax, and they then proceeded to fail a morale check and fell back 6 inches. Sons of Horus, turn 5 assault. Abaddon and his Justarin have ran up to the Krios in order to stop it shooting at them next turn, and the Tartaros Terminators have gone up into the side of the Karaknos. The Justarin took out the Krios Venator with their chain fists. The resulting explosion put a wound onto one of the Justarin. The Tartaros Terminators put their power fists into the Karaknos and caused it to explode. The explosion then managed to wipe out 2 of the Terminators. In the assault between the Tactical Marines and the Thalax, both sides managed to do 1 wound on each other, resulting in another drawn combat. Overall, Sons of Horus turn 5 has been really good. We've managed to take out 2 tanks, and their tactical squad are up in the deployment zone along with the Outriders and the Javelin to score those points.
Auto Reductor, turn 5, movement phase, and potentially the last turn of the game. The Kratnos assault tank has moved into a position where it can target the Outriders and that Javelin. The Krios Venator there has made a stupid decision by not moving into the enemy deployment zone, but the Mechanicum are convinced that they might be able to pip Abaddon out in this turn, so they're going to give it everything they possibly can. The Thalax here have rallied, which was brilliant news. They would have loved to have get a bead on the last 2 of those Terminators walking through the building there, but they can't do it. And then finally, the Triaros Armoured Conveyor has moved into a position where it is scoring, so we'll score the Mechanicum a point if it survives till the end of this turn or the next, and we'll try and put some sneaky snap shooting shots into the back of that Predator. Auto Reductor, turn 5 shooting phase, and the Thalax armed with a multi-melter has taken a snapshot against the Predator just in case we got a lucky shot, but failed to hit. And then the Triaros Armor Conveyor there snapshot the Volkite Sentinels and the Twin-Link Mauler Bolt Cannon into the rear of the Predator there and managed to cause a single hull point. It was worth a punt. The Krios Venator took aim with its Plasma Fusil and fired 4 shots into the back of Abaddon and amazingly took him out and one of the Justarin, leaving 1 Justarin left. That has got to be a fantastic result. The Kraknos assault tank fired one of its Lightning Blaster Sentinels into the Justarin in front of the Krios Venator, but failed to cause any damage. The second one took aim at the Javelin, again, failed to damage. And then finally, the Kraknos assault battery, or mortar battery, fired, got 3 hits on the Jav and 2 on the Bikers, but everyone passed their armor save, or the Kraknos failed to penetrate. Very, very unlucky. Auto Reductor, turn 5 assault phase and combat between the Thalax and the tactical squad. Initiative 4, the tactical squad struck out but failed to wound. The Thalax went in with 10 attacks, got 6 hits and 5 wounds, and managed to kill 1 tactical marine at Initiative 2. And then finally, the Sergeant attacked back with his Power Fist, putting a wound on the Thalax. That again is another drawn combat. That potentially is the end of the game, turn 5, but on a roll of a 4-up, we do go to a turn 6, so let's see what happens. Oh, the game ends. All right, we're going to come back with Vitch points. Sons of Horus versus Mechanicum. I think we know which way it's gone, don't we?
I think it felt closer than it's ended up being.
Holy cow. We'll go straight into those victory points. We'll start with the Mechanicum. One for Shatterstrike. The Trials Armor Conveyor managed to make it all the way over, being a non-scoring unit in the enemy deployment zone. Scored a point. Warlord, that Abaddon, amazing shot right on the last turn. And then for the attrition, 3 points. So 5 total for the Auto Reductor, which was fair, I guess. But the Sons of Horus romped it home with 16 victory points. They got 8 for the Shatterstrike. You got a ton of units in the Mechanicum's deployment zone.
Yep.
Good work there. I can't believe you snuck a 15-man tactical squad at the side of the board. Yeah. That was unreal. 1 for Warlord, 7 for attrition, which puts them on 16. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was a stonking game. Talk to me a little bit about it.
First turn, when I seized, I thought, this is going to go well. But what I should maybe have not done that, because I didn't really have enough units on to shoot with anyway. So. Yeah. And then my Leviathan came down, and I thought he's going to go in and start wrecking stuff. Yeah. And he didn't even get off the doors of his drop pod before he was killed. Then he started wailing into the Predators, and I thought, no, they're going to go as well.
Yeah.
But luckily,
there's one left.
I'm glad to say one's still there.
God, diggity.
Doing it for the old Predators.
Yep.
And yeah, I suppose special mention has to go to my Outriders, who did really well. Took out the Mechanicum HQ.
Yeah, they did a Thalax squad.
And then finally took out the Triaros. Also, that 15-man tactical squad.
I mean, that was unreal.
Not fired a single shot all game, but just slowly ran up the board.
They ran every turn as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they made some ground. That is one of the real big weaknesses of this Auto Reductor army, is not being able to deal with infantry really efficiently. And I thought that in the inclusion of the 2 Kraknos would go really well for this game. There was 2 big blobs and we can target the Terminators. But I think I spent 2 turns wasting the shots by bad priority. And then after that, they missed for pretty much 2 turns. I only got one round of shooting in each of them really good. But it was really poor. The inability to deal with tactical Marines or larger troops was really poor, I think, for the Mechanicum. But I must commend you on your game, because I think you did an amazing job. Not a lot came in the first couple of turns. I was able to pick them off as they came in. But all of a sudden, when those Terminators, the Justerian and Abaddon dropped in, I knew I was in trouble, because if I can't deal with them, they're going to come and get me. And then that Fire Raptor, again, the army struggles against Fire Raptors, and we didn't even get a shot against it.
Yeah, I knew it would be good against Thalax. Yeah. I mean, it didn't come in till turn 4, so it could have been really horrible. So it did well for the 2 turns it was on.
I was really lucky, I think. I think if that Raptor had come in maybe turn 3 onwards, or turn 2 onwards even, it would have been over very, very quickly. Perhaps we'd have had to have taken some shots at it, but we're wasting snap shooting shots against something we're probably not going to damage versus the stuff that's coming towards us. So I think you did an amazing job by just pinning me in place, because the only thing I got out from the battlefield was the Triaros, which scored a point.
Yeah, and the Venator could have gone, but decided to come back, and it scored 2 points. So
2 points. It was a trade-off.
It would have got over there.
Exactly. It was worth a point in the enemy deployment zone, or worth 2. If I'd picked that last Justerian, there would have been another point. But 5 on 16, I'm not going to catch you. I think I spent too long shooting at the Justerian, because I figured if they break out into the rear lines, not only can they score, because there's 3 points they could score.
Yeah,
Implacable Advance on the Justerian, and then 1 for Abaddon, but just couldn't bring it to bear. And I think the turn 3 is where it really went wrong for the Mechanicum. They just couldn't get the shots off, and a lot of those Kraus Venator hits, got 1 hit from 4 every turn. Yeah. It was such a terrible, terrible game. Well, for the Mechanicum, that is. But I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you. It was good fun.
It was really good. I've taken a ton of photos from this game, so please go to the Facebook page when the game is released. As always, you can have a look at those photos. Any special mentions from you, Luke?
Just say hello to Manchester Horus Heresy Group.
Great.
Up Manchester and Salford Way, and the Preston guys as well.
We've had a few guys from up there down on the channel. Yeah, Pete Reeves and his White Scars.
Yeah, he's just round the corner from me.
Ah, lucky guy.
Yeah,
we're trying to get.
We've never played.
Have you not?
We played once at Warhammer World.
No way.
And he lives literally 3 minutes away.
That's mad. We're trying to get Ben Greaves on. Ben's been on once before with Mark, but we're trying to get him on. But he's a very busy boy, so we're struggling. But yeah, thanks so much for coming down, guys. I really appreciate it. If we want to follow you on Instagram, where can we find you?
My Instagram is @BrushlickerLuke. There's mainly Horus Heresy on there, but a few Titanicus and Blood Bowl and even Necromunda on there.
Okay, cool. It goes without saying, as we must mention, the Sons of Horus are absolutely fantastic, and I really hope the photos in the game show that. This lovely pale green that we've got. They're a joy to play against. So thank you so much for the game.
Thank you.
That's all from us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.